Hello, everybody. My name is Nastja Salmič Tisovec. I'm a psychologist, yes, from our National Institute of Public Health, more specifically from our National Mental Health Program, MIRA.
Nastja, I'm sorry, you need to close the presentation because the other ones can't follow. Don't have words, I don't know why, like this we need
So the whole...
see. Yes,
okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I had some animations, okay. So, as you all know, the subject of sexuality and health is very broad. I had to pick one thematic, and I chose to present, to do a short presentation of current situation about sexual education in Slovenia. So, Slovenia is one of those countries that doesn't have systematically implemented sexual education, nor in our primary, nor in our secondary school education. This is the case since 1985, when we excluded a subject called health education from our mandatory curriculum. And with sexual education, we also lost topics like hygiene and first aid training. So what does that mean? That means that our sexual education is present only as a part of other subjects. It is spread across years and different subjects. And also it is consequently without systematic overall and direct monitoring or evaluation. And also emphasis on sexual education as such within one subject and also cross-subject connection can vary from teacher to teacher. Also many topics are presented by external educators and are not mandatory, nor for school, neither for students. So what do our children learn in our primary school regarding sexual education? In our first class, those are mainly 6-year-olds, they learn about their bodies, naming external parts. 7-year-olds learn about differences between sexes, about internal organs. 8-year-olds get basic knowledge about conception, prenatal development and birth. 9-year-olds get basic knowledge, again, about puberty, sexual development in boys and girls, also different types of families and characteristics of a good relationship. We skip to our 7th grade, those are mainly 13-year-olds. They learn about personality, about difference between desire, need and emotion, also about social groups and norms, biological and social sex, and also about rights and responsibilities. And our 14-year-olds, this is our 8th grade, they are the first to get the subject biology. They get a more detailed knowledge about structure and function of sexual organs, about egg and sperm development, menstrual cycle, conception, pregnancy, birth, puberty, and also sexually transmitted disease and contraceptive methods. So another way for schools to get their students some topics from sexual education are science and theme days. Now in Slovenia, schools are not autonomous in regard of number of theme days, but they are quite autonomous in regard of how they carry them out. Many choose to cooperate with external educators. We do have a list of recommended external educators from National Education Institute of Slovenia. It's a very extensive list. You can find all sorts of things there. Mainly those are NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and individuals with different experience, sometimes even our National Institute. So schools try to adapt to current conditions and demands for these theme days, but they face a lot of inequalities because of different access to those external educators. To give you an example of a very good external educator from our colleagues' hometown, Maribor. There's a group of psychology students who have a project, Oh ta ljubezen in Slovene, that means Oh that love. They have very great educational interactive workshops with which they go to local secondary schools and they talk to young about healthy sex, about first relationships, and also about LGBTQ+ community. And they do a really, really good job because the age gap is smaller and children are more attentive. So everything I presented till now refers to sexual education in schools, provided by schools. Another way are external sexual educations. We have two options here. The first are standardized workshops conducted by graduate nurses from local health education centers or health promotion centers. They are about 90 minutes long. They are standardized, and for each year of primary school, we have 9 years in Slovenia, there's a specific topic. But I have to emphasize that these are not mandatory workshops. So schools can choose, but most of them do participate. But also, if a school sees a specific subject, a specific problem they are facing, they can ask these graduate nurses to come to school with a different topic. One topic that is highly on demand currently in Slovenia are, for example, new tobacco products, like chewing tobacco and vapes and etc. So not all schools do participate, and not all children do get to hear those workshops that are recommended for them. So for smaller children, subjects are like healthy habits, preventing accidents, and so. For our 12-year-olds, the workshop contains talking about growing up in terms of risk and protective factors. There is some say about healthy sex here, but just a little. 13-year-olds are taught about stress and good self-esteem. 14-year-olds about interpersonal relationship with emphasis on good communication skills. And our 15-year-olds, this is the 9th grade, the last grade in our primary school, they have a workshop called Education for Healthy Sexuality. So this is a workshop that takes 90 minutes with an external teacher. And it is supposed to learn our 15-year-olds this knowledge. Meaning of mutual respect and understanding in relationships, difference between a fling and love, meaning of responsible behavior in sexuality, structure and function of sexual organs, physical differences in boys and girls during sexual maturing, benefits of practicing healthy and safe sex, and also how to find professional and reliable information on this subject. So, second option in external sexual education are also standardized workshops, but they are conducted by graduate nurses from pediatric teams during systematic physical checkups at health centers. They are even shorter, they take 40 minutes, and again, they are not mandatory. Physical checkups are not mandatory. Vast majority of kids do come to them, but not all. And also, you have to bear in mind that this is not in school during a whole different activity, so the attention that kids are giving to these workshops is very limited, so is their effect. But still, 12-year-olds learn about growing up in terms of physical and mental changes. And then we have our 17-year-olds. Those are our third graders in secondary education. Who have a workshop for healthy and safe love. I must say that this is quite late because majority of research show that by the time they are 17-year-olds, more than half of them already had their first sexual intercourse, so this is really late. But still, they talk about sexual behavior among peers through some statistics, about contraceptive methods, in theory, in display. They talk about pregnancy, first signs of pregnancy, also about abortion and sexually transmitted disease. So one might think there's quite a lot of sexual education in Slovenia. Kids are very well informed. Well, if you ask them, you might get a different answer. You will see why. If you look at our largest youth web counseling service, To Sem Jaz in Slovene, that stands for This Is Me. This is an ongoing project since 2001. It's a professionally edited and reviewed site for strengthening mental health and psychological resilience of our young people. Besides getting information that is adjusted for young readers, it enables our young to anonymously, quickly, and free of charge ask an expert for advice or opinion on a given topic. Their questions are being answered by 70 volunteer experts. Those are psychologists, psychotherapists, medical doctors, social workers, teachers, and etc. And what is very important, each and every question and every answer is being reviewed by a professional editor. But they are still very responsive and very fast, otherwise it wouldn't work for young people. So if we look at the topics in a 12-year-old span from 2012 and 2024, I'm sorry, 2024. The number of questions was 21,420 posted by 10 to 21-year-olds, but almost 60% were 14 to 17-year-olds. And if we look at the percentage, the first most frequent category was sexual health. This is a category containing questions about contraception, teen pregnancy, abortion, sexually transmitted diseases, being examined by a gynecologist, by a urologist. And also the seventh most frequent category is sexuality. It contains questions regarding sexual identity, masturbation, sex toys, sex games, when to have first sexual relationship, sexual desire, and etc. So if we combine these two categories, we get a single sex-related category, and it fits first place easily. So our children still need a lot more information that they are getting from the system. But to conclude my presentation in a more positive manner, it still looks that we're doing something right. Slovenia is one of those countries with traditionally good teen abortion and teen birth statistics. As you can see in these charts, our teen birth percentage has dropped from 2.7% in 1973 to 0.2% in 2021. And also our teen abortion statistics is similar. We have come from 9.6% all abortions being done by minor pregnant women in 2000 to 5.6% in 2021. So this is all from me. Thank you and have a good Congress.
We started a bit late, but we finished quickly. Does anyone have a question for Nastja?
May I? Our microphone. First of all, thank you very much. I really was looking forward for this presentation because, you know, Slovenia and Latvia is the same size, so always looking how neighbors are doing, let's say so, in Europe, all our neighbors. Just clarification, the lecture that NGOs are providing, sexuality education, are schools to pay for them? Do you have the information?
It depends on the NGO, but I worked before in an NGO. We did those educational seminars for free because the lack and the shortage of systematically done education, we felt that it is right. But it depends. Some take only fare money, so traveling expenses. Some do, but it's not much in any case.
We have the same system, but schools cannot afford that recently.
Is there time?
Go ahead.
A very
One
quick
more
question. Thank you so much. That was so interesting and encouraging as well. So thank you. Can I ask, is parental consent required for sex education, both formal and the informal?
No.
It's not. So
No.
there are no issues with parents withdrawing their consent for children?
No, because consent is not needed. It's so consent is not needed, but there are some post-festum situations could be where kids talk at home with their parents what they were learning about, and sometimes, rarely, parents go to school and say, what did you talk to my child about, what did you learn, learn them. But consent as the starting point is not necessary.